Spoken with the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. He's announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees for the deceased. You heard just some moments ago from the IG of the area there in Aligarh, the range there in Aligarh, saying that 116 dead bodies have been identified so far. But the question which needs to be asked, even as the dust settles on this terrible, terrible tragedy, and our thoughts and prayers with the families of these victims, many of them from very, very poor and lower middle class backgrounds. This was an entirely avoidable loss of lives. And like I said, at last count, it's over 100, expected to go up further. Who should be held accountable for it? Is it the organizers? Is it the UP District Administration in Hathras? Because at the end of the day, somebody has blood on their hands, and whoever it is needs to be held accountable.
देखिए इस वक्त मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा घायलों का आना फिर से शुरू हो गया है। एम्बुलेंस से यहाँ पर घायलों को उतारा जा रहा है और फिर यहाँ पर जेल मेडिकल कॉलेज में एडमिट कराया जाएगा। तेज बारिश हो रही है और बारिश के दौरान यहाँ पर घायल लगातार निरंतर रूप से आ रहे हैं। डॉक्टर्स यहाँ पर पूरी तरीके से मौजूद हैं और घायल यहाँ पर स्ट्रेचर पर ले जाया जा रहा है। यहाँ पर प्रशासन, पुलिस, सिटी मजिस्ट्रेट तमाम लोग मौजूद हैं। ये वहीं से घायल हैं जो आ रहे हैं। देखिए घायलों को यहाँ पर ले जाया जा रहा है और यहाँ से ले जाने के बाद इनका यहाँ पर इलाज कराया जाएगा। इलाज के दौरान यहाँ पर और भी घायल है जो सुनने में आ रहा है।
जनपद हाथरस में बड़ा हादसा होने के बाद एटा जिले में भी अलर्ट मोड पर जिला प्रशासन आ गया है, क्योंकि वहां पर जो मृतकों की संख्या थी उसमें लगातार बढ़ोतरी हो रही है और यहाँ एटा जिले में अब तक 27 लोगों के सब पहुंच चुके हैं, जिसमें बताया जा रहा है कि 23 महिलाएं हैं, 3 बच्चे हैं।
दुखद और हृदय विदारक है। अपराह्न में 3-3:30 बजे के अंदर ये पूरा घटनाक्रम घटित होता हुआ बताया जाता है। जनपद हाथरस के सिकंदरा राव के अंदर ये पूरा हादसा घटित हुआ है। वहाँ पर स्थानीय आयोजकों ने एक भोले बाबा का कोई आयोजन स्थानीय गांवों में उनके द्वारा सत्संग के आयोजन के माध्यम से किए जाते रहे हैं और स्थानीय भक्तगण उस कार्यक्रम में भाग लेते हैं। उस समय जब मंचीय कार्यक्रम संपन्न हो चुका होता है तो बताते हैं कि जब सत्संग के प्रवचनकर्ता वहाँ से मंच से उतर रहे थे तो उनकी तरफ अचानक भक्तों की भीड़ उन्हें छूने के लिए उधर जा रही थी और सेवादारों के द्वारा रोकने पर यह हादसा वहाँ पर घटित हुआ। इस पूरे मामले की जांच के लिए हम लोगों ने एडिशनल डीजी आगरा की अध्यक्षता में मंडलायुक्त अलीगढ़ को शामिल करते हुए एक टीम बना करके उन्हें अविलंब रिपोर्ट उपलब्ध कराने के लिए कहा है। घटना को देखते हुए प्रदेश के मुख्य सचिव और डीजीपी वहीं पर कैंप कर रहे हैं। प्रदेश सरकार के 3 मंत्री चौधरी लक्ष्मी नारायण जी, से संदीप सिंह जी, से असीम अरुण जी, ये तीनों लोग वहाँ पर घटनास्थल पर ही कैंप करके घायलों को उपचार आदि की व्यवस्था में लगे हुए हैं। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी और आदरणीय गृह मंत्री जी ने भी इस घटना पर अपना गहरा दुख व्यक्त करते हुए शोक संतप्त परिजनों के प्रति अपनी संवेदना व्यक्त की है और भारत सरकार ने भी और राज्य सरकार ने भी मृतक के परिजन को 2-2 लाख रुपए की और गंभीर रूप से घायल परिवारों की, नागरिकों के लिए भी 50-50 हज़ार रुपये की सहायता की घोषणा की है। राज्य सरकार इस पूरी घटना की तह में जाएगा। यह हादसा है या साजिश, यह भी हम इसकी तह में जाकर के इसको देखेंगे। इस प्रकार की घटना पर पीड़ितों के प्रति संवेदना व्यक्त करने की बजाय राजनीति करना यह अत्यंत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है और निंदनीय भी।
जो लोग इस पे कुछ राजनीतिक दल इस पे राजनीतिक
Aditya giving out details of what exactly happened. A high-level team under ADG Agra has been sent there to the location. There's also the Chief Secretary who's been rushed there, and a team of 3 ministers have also been deployed to go there. So here's what we know about what exactly happened in Hathras. The question top of mind for everyone watching this broadcast is, what exactly led to this massive stampede? Remember, over 50,000 people had gathered for this satsang, or a religious congregation. There were just 72 policemen. This is preliminary information that we have. For a crowd of 50,000 people, there was a deployment of just 72 policemen to try and control the crowd. The stampede occurred after the Baba in question, and a controversial figure at that, we'll get to that in a second, Baba Bhole, had finished his lecture, had finished his satsang. He was exiting the stage, and a lot of people started rushing behind his convoy of cars. An FIR has been registered against the organizers of the satsang. The name of this Baba, this controversial figure, his name is Narayan Hari or Bhole Baba. He's been absconding right after this incident. Remember, this incident happened about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He is set to be MIA soon after that incident ensued. Mr. Narayan Hari, the Baba Bhole as he's known, his phone is switched off, and the police suspect that he's not even in Hathras district, that he's already made a getaway outside of the district. An NDRF team has been dispatched from Ghaziabad in western Uttar Pradesh to Hathras for the rescue and recovery operations. You heard from Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath a moment ago. He's held emergency meetings. He will be visiting Hathras tomorrow. Meanwhile, a team of 3 ministers, the Chief Secretary and an ADG of police have been sent there to Hathras right now. Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah have spoken to Yogi Adityanath. They've assured all possible help and aid from the central government to the state. But it's clear that this man, this Baba Bhole, and the organizers of this satsang, prima facie are at fault, A, for the number of people who had gathered there. The district administration certainly responsible for the lack of policemen to try and control the mammoth 50,000 crowd that had gathered there. Clearly, a lot of people have blood on their hands. This is the sequence of events, and I want to go across first to my colleague Anshul Singh, who's joining us live from Hathras, where I believe it's been pouring since the time of this incident, which happened at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Anshul, tell us where you are right now and what is the latest information that you have. I believe IG Aligarh has just given a statement saying 116 dead bodies have been identified so far.
116 dead bodies have been taken up from the site of incident. The process of identification of the dead bodies is underway. As I speak, currently out here at the Hathras Hospital, the Chief Secretary of the UP government along with the DGP of the UP government is present over here. They have reached over here to get a sense of the entire situation that is developing over here. Just now a high-level meeting happened with the top officials of the local administration, along with officials that have been sent by Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister himself, to make sure that the entire process of initially identifying the bodies and then handing over the bodies to the family members is done post the post-mortem is done as well. Definitely, the government has sprung into action. What has been confirmed to us on CNN News 18 camera by the IG as well, that the permission for 80,000 people was granted by the STM, and the number of police officials that was present over there, that has still not been clarified officially from the side of police. Was it around 50 as is being reported at this point in time, or what other lapses that happened in this entire incident is something that is being questioned at this point in time. We'll just try and get in a word from the Chief Secretary of Uttar Pradesh. He has reached over here. He has conducted this meeting, and we'll just try and get in a word from him as to what happened. Sir, आप लोग यहाँ पर पहुँचे हैं, क्या वजह दिखती हैं, अगर प्राइमा फेसाई देखा जाए तो क्या वजह दिखती हैं जिसकी वजह से ये पूरा इंसिडेंट हुआ?
देखिए, ऐसा है, ये
नीचे कर लीजिए, किसी को दिखाई नहीं देगा।
ये घटना बहुत ही दुखद और हृदय विदारक है। इसमें शासन और प्रशासन की पूरी संवेदनाएं जो मृतक हैं उनके परिजन के साथ हैं। हम लोग यहाँ पर माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने निर्देशित किया और वो हर पल की खबर को मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पे
हमारी पहली प्राथमिकता है कि जो लोग घायल हैं उनको सही और अच्छी तरह से उपचार मिल सके और जो मृतक हैं उनका पोस्टमार्टम और उसके बाद जो भी व्यवस्था करनी है वो करने के बाद उनके परिजनों को सौंपते हुए उनके घर तक पहुंचाया जाए। और अभी जो हम लोगों के पास सूचना एकत्रित हुई है वो लगभग 116 लोग हैं जिनकी मृत्यु हुई है, उसमें 7 बच्चे हैं और अभी एक पुरुष की बात है, बाकी शेष महिलाएं हैं। और इसमें जिन लोगों का शिनाख्त हो पाया है वो लगभग 72 लोग हैं।
मिसिंग कितने हैं सर?
तो नहीं, मिसिंग कोई नहीं है। जो 72 के अलावा बता रहा हूँ वो उनकी शिनाख्त की कार्रवाई की जा रही है, उनके फोटोग्राफ वगैरह लिए गए हैं और फिर उसको अलग मैकेनिज्म से उनके परिजनों को लोकेट करने की कोशिश की जा रही है।
कितने लोगों के इकट्ठा होने की परमिशन थी?
इसमें
कितने लोगों की इकट्ठा होने की परमिशन थी सर?
शासन की ओर से जो इसमें किया जा रहा है वो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि बहुत तत्परता के साथ उनके इलाज आदि की व्यवस्था की जा रही है और उनके घर तक पहुंचाने की व्यवस्था की जा रही है। जो मृतक हैं पुलिस के साथ वो वहां तक पहुंचाए जाएंगे। राज्य सरकार ने इसमें 2 लाख मृतकों के लिए और 50,000 घायलों के लिए देने की बात कही है और इतनी ही धनराशि केंद्र सरकार की ओर से भी उन परिवारों को दी जाएगी। इसमें माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने
That was the Chief Secretary of Uttar Pradesh, Manoj Kumar Singh, confirming that 116 people have died. He's also given details. Out of that 116, 7 are children. If I heard him right, 1 man and the rest are all women. Over 100 women who mainly seem to be the sort of congregation who gathered there, the followers of this Baba Bhole, who, by the way, is missing in action. He's out of the district, is what the police are telling us. He's out of Hathras. There is a lookout for him. There is a case that's been registered against the organizers. And of course, the question also needs to be asked of the district administration. How did you allow 50,000 people to gather at an open ground such as the one that we saw in Hathras and merely 70-odd police personnel to man that crowd? Joining me now, Anila Singh is spokesperson of the UP BJP, Ghanshyam Tiwari, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Vikram Singh is former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Anila ji, now is not the time to play politics, but some basic questions need to be asked of the district administration. How could you allow 50,000 people, and it seems now a large number of the victims, over 100 of the victims are women, 7 children. How was a crowd of 50,000 people going to be managed by 70-odd policemen?
My Ram Ram to all and my heartfelt condolences to all those who has left us, and my heart really goes to all the near and dear ones of the family as well. See, you are saying that we should not politicize the matter, but the reality is opposition has already started to politicize the matter. They are saying that it is Yogi Sarkar who is responsible for this stampede. Any government, whether it is a state government or the central government, do you think they want such a stampede should happen? But definitely whatever Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji has said, कि ये कोई साजिश है या कुछ और कारण है, इसकी भी तफ्तीश होगी. Inquiry will be done. So let the facts come out. What were the reasons behind it? But we know one thing, that yes, a humongous crowd was there. Permission of, to the best of my knowledge, was taken for the couple of thousand people, but the many more, they had turned up. So it became out of control. The situation became out of control. But there are many things which are going to be revealed once the inquiry is completed. But Yogi Sarkar is there with the families who have lost their loved ones, and all those who says that it is the failure of the Yogi Sarkar. Then I have got a list in front of me. When Samajwadi Party was ruling Uttar Pradesh, the incidents at that time happened. Other states also, they have faced such things in their political tenure.
So, Ghanshyam Tiwari, let's not get into the politics. But like I said, some basic questions need to be asked of the district administration. Was permission given for 50,000 people to gather there? For 50,000 people, were only 70 policemen. I mean, how are you expecting 70 policemen to manage a crowd of 50,000? But at some level, you know, there will be a time and place very soon, once the dust settles, once all the dead have been accounted for, and once the grief settles. I think we need to ask a basic question in this day and age. Why are people running behind these fake godmen? I believe in this case, this Baba Bhole has already left the district. He's missing in action and he has past criminal cases against him. I mean, shouldn't a basic question be asked, are people so blind behind these fake babas that there are some reports suggesting that they were trying to pick the soil from where this man was walking?
Good evening, Zaka, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. This is an hour of mourning for the entire country. This is a tragedy of epic proportion with so many lives lost, children, women, and clearly there are a number of open questions that people across the country attend different types of religious events in large numbers is the way our country is. We are a nation of faith, and there are people who establish a following for themselves in millions and are able to conduct events which have large followership and large attendance. However, the question that was asked to the Chief Secretary was that what was the permission for what is the number of people for which the permission was taken. And Anilaji here said that it was around 2,000. If there are 70 policemen, if the permission is for 2,000 and 50,000 people are there, this is a sign of a danger. Second, that while there could be freak reasons why such a tragedy can happen, one thing is clear that when in a district so many people gather at one place, the district administration has to be fully prepared for an emergency, fully prepared in terms of ambulances, fully prepared in terms of the district hospital, fully prepared in terms of any kind of emergency and disaster striking at such place. And as the stories emerge from the ground, it is clear that district administration was not prepared. The hospital was not prepared. The relief and rescue was not prepared. Many lives could have been saved should that happen. And third is that the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh calling or raising a suspicion that there could be a sajish in this. That is, either he knows something that you and I and the panelists here don't know, or he is just trying to shift the blame. It is clearly a lack of preparedness of district administration that has caused loss of some lives. I'm not saying all lives, but some lives. Had they been prepared with respect to the hospital and rescue preparation.
Before I go to Vikram Singh Saab, Anila ji, what does the UP Chief Minister mean by iska bhi tehqiqat ho jayega ki ye sazish thi ya durghatna thi? What does he mean by that? Ghanshyam Tiwari says maybe he knows something more than what you or I know, and if he does, then he needs to come clean to the people of the country, or he's just trying to divert attention. That's what Ghanshyam is saying.
Absolutely not. And this is not the nature of Yogi Adityanath ji, that he will like to distract by saying anything, whatever, I mean, just XYZ thing. Whatever he said, he didn't mince his words. He said that it is the matter of investigation that whether this incident happened because of some sort of conspiracy or it was just organic. So let the inquiry happen.
But conspiracy by who? When the Chief Minister, who is the highest constitutional post in that state, says we have to inquire if this is a conspiracy, who would conspire to kill 116 people, 7 children and over 100 women? Who gains by the death of over 100 innocent poor folks? These are very, very poor people. They're not some rich families who had gathered there. They are poorest of poor people who had gathered there. Who gains from such a conspiracy, if at all it is part of a conspiracy?
See, I'm not the right person to answer this. We should wait for the inquiry to happen. And if such conspiracy has happened, and because of which this unfortunate incident happened today, we will come to know that who was behind it. And if it was not so, then definitely people responsible for all this failure, they are going to go behind the bars.
Vikram Singh Saab, you know, we have seen time and time again so many such unfortunate stampedes at temples. I go back to 2005 at the Mandar Devi temple in Satara in Maharashtra, 340 people were killed. At the Naina Devi temple in 2008 in August in Bilaspur in Himachal Pradesh, 162 people were killed. Chamunda Devi temple in Rajasthan in Jodhpur, 250 people were killed in 2008. At the Ratnagar temple in Datia in Madhya Pradesh, 115 people were killed in 2013. We simply do not seem to have, at the level of local administrations, the ability to control crowds who gather in such large congregations. Either permissions are flouted by the organizers at the local level, or we simply don't have the crowd management ability to avoid such situations, such terrible tragedies.
Zaka, I would have 2 points to make on your observations. Number one, the SOPs are there, and every district in the country has a document that is known as the Internal Security Scheme, which includes crowd management. Wherever such incidents and tragedies have happened, it is because of a casual attitude and, of course, non-application of mind. In this case also, the application that was given to the SDM was Badi Sankhya mein Bhakt. What is Badi Sankhya? Badi Sankhya can be anything from 8 to 80,000, but it was not specified. Application of mind, due diligence, intelligence reports, and also the homework was not done. And you left it. In fact, you were so casual that you deployed a constable to one constable for 1,000 persons. It is just like free for all. And then when there is poor deployment, no rehearsal, no CCTVs, and also there is no proper staggering of crowds so as to ensure smooth exit and entry, then you were quoting the recipe of disaster, and this is exactly what happened. I would hold primarily the district administration and the police responsible, because this is indeed not rocket science. You were trained to handle such crowds, but you did not apply your mind. You did not have an intelligent deployment of force. You did not have a monitoring. And of course, even to say, even if there are 50,000, they did not descend from heaven. To collect a crowd of 50,000, you require at least 4 or 5 hours. The local intelligence and the traffic would guide the control room and say that these are the routes and the buses and the vehicles are flying, and they're collecting at a place, and it may swell up to 50,000. That is the time the control room should have got their reinforcement, put their act together, had their reserve, had the ambulance in position, the emergency medical backup supply should have been there, the Mahila police should have been there, but nothing like that. It seemed that everybody expected the Almighty, that everything will pass off hunky-dory on its own. It did not happen, unluckily for them, but now there should be consequences. All the orders and all the SOPs were flouted, and therefore, the permission that was given was mechanical with non-application of mind. The deployment, again, was unrealistic. The follow-up and the follow-through and the treatment, again, was just knee-jerk.
Okay.
So the entire system, I wish I had one compliment to give to the district administration, which I have none as of now.
I couldn't agree with you more. Everything that you said is 100% right, Mr. Vikram Singh. As somebody who's been a police officer for 40 years, you clearly know when you see an incident such as this, where the flaws are, where the district administration really bungled up. And it's very, very clear. I think the DM of Hathras gave a soundbite saying that the SDM had given permission for this congregation to come together. Clearly, either the SDM was clueless about the number of people who were gathering there, or he did not pass that information on to the requisite police officers, who sent merely 70 police personnel to man a crowd of 50,000, which was clearly inadequate. We hope that we get to the bottom of what went wrong in Hathras soon enough. All right, I want to thank our guests. We want to move on to the second part of our program tonight here on Brass Tacks, and that is the fireworks that we saw in Parliament for the second day running. Yesterday, it was Rahul Gandhi who made his maiden speech as leader of the opposition. Today, it was the Prime Minister's turn to take the floor of the Lok Sabha. What started off as an address that one could barely hear because there was hectic heckling and sloganeering from the opposition who came down to the well of the House. The Prime Minister was undaunted. He made a pointed and unbridled attack on the Congress, and particularly on leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi. He ridiculed the Congress for celebrating this election mandate of 2024 as some kind of a victory. He said this is the third worst tally that the Congress has got in 75 years of parliamentary democracy. He also hit back specifically at Rahul Gandhi, calling him Balak Buddhi, meaning childish behavior. He said childish behavior was on display when the LOP spoke yesterday in Parliament. He also accused the Congress party of being a political parasite at the cost of its allies. He took a big swipe at the remark that was made by Rahul Gandhi about Hindu Hinsak. Yesterday, the Prime Minister said that the Congress has made it fashionable to attack Hindus. He also dragged in the Congress's ally, the DMK, over the entire Sanatan comments made by Udinidhi Stalin. The Prime Minister invoked Swami Vivekanand to remind the Congress of what Hinduism stood for. The Prime Minister accused the Congress ecosystem of habitually maligning Hindus and making it almost fashionable to malign Hindus. His address was over 2 hours long. It was the longest address that he has made in Parliament since he began his tenure as Prime Minister 10 years ago. It was peppered with jibes and taunts for the Congress and, of course, directly for the newly elected leader of the opposition. The question, though, remains, has the Prime Minister blunted Rahul Gandhi's offensive?
कि भैया किस बात की मिठाई बांट रहे हो? ये 100 में से 99 नहीं लाया, ये तो 543 में से लाया है। अब उस बालक बुद्धि को कौन समझाए कि तुमने फेल होने का वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड बना दिया है। 2024 से जो कांग्रेस है वो परजीवी कांग्रेस है। कांग्रेस भी जिस पार्टी के साथ गठबंधन करती है उसी के वोट खा जाती है। देश ने कल 1 जुलाई को खटाखट दिवस भी मनाया है। 1 जुलाई को लोग अपने बैंक अकाउंट चेक कर रहे थे कि 8,500 रुपए आए कि नहीं आए। कल यहां बालक बुद्धि का विलाप चल रहा था। मुझे मारा गया, मुझे इसने मारा, मुझे उसने मारा, मुझे यहां मारा, मुझे वहां मारा, ये चल रहा था।
Entire address, which is over 2 hours and 20 minutes long, the longest by the Prime Minister in his tenure in the last 10 years, was completely drowned out by sloganeering and heckling by opposition members who rushed to the well of the House. Despite repeated attempts by the Speaker and warnings from the Speaker, they did not go away from the well of the House. I want to open this up to our panelists here in our studio. Shehzad Poonawala is National Spokesperson of the BJP. Mohan Kumar Mangalam is Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Ghanshyam Tiwari, Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Rajat Sethi, Political Analyst. And Pawan Verma, author and former diplomat, is also joining us. Let me start with you, Mohan Kumar Mangalam. You have every right to put forth your point of view, as Mr. Gandhi did yesterday in his capacity as leader of the opposition. Yes, I'm not saying that that was incident-free. There were interventions by the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, other ministers, but nobody heckled him, nobody drowned him out in slogans, etc. Nobody rushed to the well of the House. Why not extend that basic courtesy to the leader of the House, to the elected Prime Minister, that at least the House be able to hear what he's saying, the people of the country be able to hear what he's saying?
Zaka, I watched him speak and I could hear everything he was saying. And as far as Mr. Gandhi being interrupted seldom, clearly you and me were not watching the same broadcast when he was talking.
No, I didn't say seldom.
I didn't say continuously interrupting
I didn't say seldom.
They were continuously interrupting him. The benches were continuously heckling him. And I think it took 4 or 5 cabinet ministers to stand up and interrupt him. It was not an interruption-free and not even a seldom interruption, infested retort, if you will. So we just give it as good as we get it. And that's what the Prime Minister got today. He has been doing this, and the benches, the treasury benches have been doing this, not now, but for the last decade. If you look at the way Parliament ran, it was run as if it was only one party in Parliament. Only, I think, about 17% of bills even went to standing committees in the last term, and 150 plus MPs were suspended. So we have a much stronger opposition now. And if you're not going to let the opposition make their point with interrupting us, without heckling us, then you will get, it back.
Tell me, what was the idea of all the opposition MPs rushing to the well of the House and sloganeering and trying to drown out the Prime Minister? I mean, is that your way of, ensuring that this is parliamentary participative democracy? I mean, what is the message you're trying to send? I mean,
Zaka, I just told you the message we're trying to send, which is that if you are going to spend your time interrupting us, interrupting the leader of the opposition, which you didn't have for the last decade or so, interrupting him when he's making his speech, heckling him, no less than the Prime Minister, which I think has never happened in our history, got up to interrupt his speech, then you will get it back from us. It's not the old weak opposition that you could just ride roughshod over.
Okay, so Shehzad Poonawalla, no longer the weak opposition. I believe yesterday when Mr. Gandhi was speaking, he was interrupted 12 times, twice by the Prime Minister and 3 times by the Home Minister. So, you know, you're getting it as good as you gave yesterday, you're getting it today.
First of all, Zaka, let me use your platform to extend condolences to the families of the victims in Hathras. And you know, Zaka, today parliamentary democracy has seen 2 sets of pictures. I'm sure you will be able to show that Prime Minister Modi, when he was addressing, at that time the opposition MPs were in the well, he offered a glass of water to one of the protesting MPs. That is one side or one template. And on the other hand, those who have been talking about Daromat have adopted an approach of Sunomat. Of course, Rahul Gandhi was not interrupted, he was fact-checked. Did he not lie about MSP? Did he not lie about Agnivir? Did he not lie about other things? Forget that. I am saying that 12 fact checks were done during his 100-minute speech, but his speech was by and large heard. But what was the other side? The other side throughout the speech not only heckled, even when Prime Minister at the end of the speech, Zaka, today, when he was giving condolence message for Hathras, please play that, and I don't lie on television shows, you know that. You please play it. Even during the Hathras speech, Hathras condolence message, they were heckling and shouting, Bharat Jodo, Bharat Jodo. What has Bharat Jodo got to do with any of this? They were talking कि chalo, we wanted to have the voice heard on various issues. First of all, on NEET, you know, out of 100 minutes of LOP speech, only 4 minutes were dedicated to NEET. Just 4 minutes. Is that their seriousness about NEET? Secondly, let me go to another point. They are talking about we are very democratic. If you do this, we will do this. In Tamil Nadu Assembly, and I'm sorry to bring out Tamil Nadu, but that is also part of our country. Tamil Nadu, 65 Dalits have died. There the LOP only demanded a discussion. They have suspended him. Here their most biggest argument is that Modi ji interrupted Rahul Gandhi. He actually fact-checked. But there what you have done, you have suspended the AIDMK leader. And here you are preaching about democracy.
No, but that can't be a model
that is not a model
to
at all.
Follow or whatever. But can I ask you one thing, Shehzad? When the Prime Minister today, not even referring to Rahul Gandhi by name, said Balak Buddhi, isn't there somewhere down the line a lack of acceptance that, look, whether you like it or not, Mr. Gandhi has been chosen as the leader of the opposition. And he represents not just the Congress party, as he said yesterday, he represents all 234 MPs of the opposition. You've got to give him that much respect, pride of place, whatever it is, even if it's begrudgingly, but to disparagingly call him Balak Buddhi, I mean, isn't that lack of acceptance?
Zaka, although Prime Minister, like you rightly mentioned, did not name any person, and if they have taken it on themselves, then that shows that they also believe that they are representing that thought. But every day, 3 tweets are put out by Jairam Ramesh naming Prime Minister and calling him Ek Tihai Pradhan Mantri. Which media channel, I'm sorry to say this, I would never say this, which media channel told Jairam Ramesh that what kind of Prime Minister was Manmohan Singh? What kind of Prime Minister was Narasimha Rao? Any media channel has raised this issue. Every day he puts 3 tweets saying Ek Tihai. And forget that. Today this entire interruption process that has taken place, it has actually been celebrated officially by the Congress party, making a virtue out of indiscipline. And I come back to the question, Zaka. Principle is principle, no? Sunna hai awaz, we are for democracy, baat sunne do. Then why LOP of Tamil Nadu has been suspended for an entire session? Then with which moral pulpit are you preaching from?
Okay,
and one last question, if I may ask. You are talking about the issues of the people. Forget the statement of Rahul Gandhi where he said that Hindus nafrat or hinsa phailate. I am not going into that. You know, K.C. Venugopal said that Bhagavad Gita se Godse ne violence and hatya sikhi. I asked Mr. Mohan, I hope he considers me as a friend. Can you say that about Quran? Can you say Osama bin Laden learned something from Quran like that?
No.
I can play the speech.
He said, one second. He said, both Gandhi and Godse read the Bhagavad Gita, while one imbibed non-violence lessons from the Gita, the other imbibed violence from the Gita. That's the exact quote of what Mr. Venugopal said.
Just
anyway, that's not the debate.
Murder.
That's not the debate today. That's not the debate today.
It's not the debate, but it's about abusing Hindus from the temple of democracy.
Let me ask Ghanshyam Tiwari. Ghanshyam Tiwari, admittedly, this is not the 17th Lok Sabha, the 18th Lok Sabha. The composition is very different. The opposition's voice needs to be heard. It needs to be seen. It needs to be listened to. But pray, I'm asking you the same question I asked Mohan Kumar Mangalam. What have you achieved by rushing to the well of the House, heckling, sloganeering, drowning out the Prime Minister? I mean, this is not participative parliamentary democracy. I mean, you've achieved nothing. If at all you've achieved anything, you've shown those people who may have given you a chance this time exactly why they should not have. Because, you know, you have used the bully pulpit of Parliament to heckle down an elected leader.
Zaka, in perfect times, this is a criticism which is fair. But are we in perfect times? We have a situation where the day started with the Lok Sabha speaker expunging the most critical part of speeches where BJP is criticized. Clearly, your viewers believe, the people of the country believe, that BJP is a party that champions lies, hatred, and animosity. This is what I believe. We have seen it in repeated terms. And we saw a home minister who in September 2018 or sometime around that told his own BJP members in a gathering that we now have the power to spread any amount of lies. This is the current home minister. And today the home minister is saying that we are going to fact check you. Akhilesh Yadav ji said very respectfully, ये गिरने वाली सरकार है, चलने वाली सरकार नहीं, ऊपर से जुड़ा कोई तार नहीं, नीचे कोई आधार नहीं, अधर में जो लटकी हुई है वो कोई सरकार नहीं. I would have expected that all the airtime that you gave to the BJP spokesperson would be used to say that, look, the Prime Minister of India took the challenges that India faces head on. Here is what he said responsibly about the NEET exam and the continuous spate of paper leaks. Here is what he said about the continuous spate of leakages and breakages in infrastructure under his government. Here is what he said about the criticism on Agniveer. Here is how he says that his government will accept the losses that BJP made, and here is how they will tackle price rise or unemployment. And here is what he said about hatred on which BJP lost so
very
many
quickly,
words.
before I go to the other two guests, your leader spoke today. He spoke, I think, about 40-45 minutes. Did any BJP MP heckle him, shout him down? Did any BJP MP rush to the well of the house? Shouldn't that basic courtesy be extended to the other side, is all I'm asking.
As I said, in ideal times, yes, but BJP is far from ideal. Okay. The lowest benchmark one can achieve. I'll tell you example. Rajiv Rai, who's a spokesperson, is my colleague. He's also a member of parliament.
Yes.
He tweeted right after the parliament was adjourned, that he was supposed to speak after Manoj Tiwari spoke. There were 25 minutes that were still left in what was allocated to SP. But when you start treating Prime Minister as non-biological, treating him as God, as speaker, you just run over all the time that is remaining for opposition to speak.
Okay.
Another member of parliament of Manipur could have spoken. Because you want the Prime Minister to feel like a king. Then
Shehzad, quick response. I need to go to Pawan Verma and Rajat Sethi after this.
Zaka.
Okay, got it, Ghanshyam, got it. Yeah.
Zaka.
Quickly,
so
please.
Now suddenly when you ask him a question, the standard becomes, but these are not perfect times. So then we could have also cited, and what is the imperfect time in Tamil Nadu? There it's not even a BJP LOP. We are talking about principle, Zaka. And he has digressed to Amit Shah saying something about WhatsApp. His own leader has said that I encourage cheating, and the anti-cheating bill was removed by Mulayam Singh Yadav. I don't want to get digressed. I want to ask you, in the perfect times in Tamil Nadu, why don't you walk the talk as India Alliance and allow the LOP to have a discussion on 65 deaths? Has any of your leaders even spoken of this? Have you spoken about what has happened in West Bengal with the women, the Talibani flogging? No, because it's inconvenient. Telangana Kisan has committed suicide on camera saying that the government has cheated me and has not come to my rescue, and Congresswomen are taking my lines. They are talking about MSP, lying that MSP was not given.
Let me go to Pawan Verma. I want to bring the debate back on track. Pawan Verma, what I'm afraid of is, now this is going to be the template. Every time the Prime Minister speaks, the opposition is going to rush to the well of the house and heckle him and sloganeer him and try to drown him out. And I suspect the BJP is also going to give it back. Every time Rahul Gandhi now stands up to speak as leader of the opposition, they're going to do the same thing to him. We basically are now setting the template for what could very well be a non-functional or dysfunctional 18th Lok Sabha.
Thank you, Zaka. I want to make three important points. Firstly, I have no hesitation in saying that the manner in which the Prime Minister's speech was continuously drowned out by non-stop heckling was not good parliamentary practice. And what this really means is that when now the opposition leaders speak, their voices will be drowned out by the BJP. This brings me to my second point, which is that I think Parliament in the current situation has been caught in an unending vicious cycle of bitterness. And any attempt to bridge that gap will not only not happen, but will make governance, which the common citizen is begging for, even more difficult. I think the Prime Minister must have had a sore throat, because he had to literally shout through the din for one of his longest speeches.
Yep.
I concede the fact that Mr. Rahul Gandhi was heard with more attention and less interruption, and that he could make his points for his first and maiden speech as the leader of opposition. But at the same time, sometimes when the presiding officers are less than impartial, or browbeat the opposition into sticking to an agenda which is more suitable to what the government would like, I feel there is a sense of frustration in the opposition. But now the opposition is numerically much stronger, and therefore, unless people begin to understand that things were not what they were in the past. My good friend Shehzad mentioned some particular instances. So many can be cited by the opposition as well, when with a brute majority in the Lok Sabha and a managed majority in the Raj Sabha, issues that the opposition was asking for were not discussed. Issues were not sent to select committees, and bills were rammed through without appropriate discussion, with presiding officers behaving almost as if they were servants of the treasury benches. These are not good and healthy parliamentary practices.
Okay.
The third point I want to make is that I think the Prime Minister's speech fell into the trap laid out by the opposition. This is in addition to the point that we are discussing, but I think it's important. The Prime Minister could have referred to the speech of the leader of the opposition, in fact gone to the extent of congratulating him for finally having become one, with as much irony and sarcasm as he could muster. But the Prime Minister, instead of focusing the bulk of his speech in attacking the Congress and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, did exactly what the opposition wanted, whereas the people of India would have liked to hear from the Prime Minister his vision of what he has himself defined as Viksit Bharat. This is what I am going to do, and not converted the debate where in a way there is an equivalence now between him and Rahul Gandhi, which is precisely what
Rahul Gandhi and the opposition want.
The Congress
I think that's a fair point. But Rajat, I think the bigger point, Rajat Sethi, is that the opposition is basically telling the treasury benches that, look, you cannot run the 18th Lok Sabha like the way you ran the 17th Lok Sabha, which means that the government has to go that extra mile. If the opposition is asking for an extra day for a debate on NEET, and surely everybody agrees, given what we've seen in the last few weeks, NEET is a very, very pressing public issue, then the government must go out of its way to have an extra day of debate on NEET. If the opposition is saying, why can't you accommodate one more MP from Manipur to speak in the 10 or 20 minutes that was left because of the pressing situation in that state, then the treasury benches, the government, the floor managers of the government have to go that extra mile to accommodate the opposition, because they are 234. They are not 52 like they were in the previous Lok Sabha.
See, Zaka, allowing, on one side, telling the BJP that the ground has changed, it is a different Lok Sabha, the strengths are different, is one thing. But ensuring that every rule in the book is torn apart and every path of confrontation is adopted is another thing. I think where Congress and the opposition led by the Congress party is attempting at is theaterization of the parliament. They want to see that as a classic case wherein they want to bring in an optical illusion that they are the ones who are calling the shots, wherein the BJP, they do not want to give the space to the BJP to even come out and address the motion of thanks to the president's speech, by the way. This was an occasion where you could have allowed Prime Minister Modi to speak and then go out and puncture his agenda the way you like to do in a responsible opposition. The point is opposition has been given a mandate to sit in the opposition. They have been rewarded with certain amount of political capital. How do they utilize this political capital? How do they spend it? On what issue they want to spend it, and how they want to waste it on theatrics is up to them. But remember, this is not an infinite amount of political capital. They need to be judicious about it. They need to ensure that they are responsibly picking up issues and taking it to a logical conclusion. My point is that aren't there parliamentary rules to raise issues like Manipur, issues like NEET, etc.? Can't you follow the rule book for once? Can't you come out and show that this is what a responsible opposition looking to get an even bigger mandate in 2029 can look like?
Their contention is we've been moving adjournment motion after adjournment motion. The government does not concede. But I think the point that Pawan Verma made, please Shahzad respond to that. I think what is happening is that with the Prime Minister responding every time to the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, I don't think is enhancing his own stature. It is Rahul Gandhi's stature which is being enhanced. If you look at television channels coverage, newspapers coverage, we are showing two frames. One frame has Mr. Modi, the other frame has Mr. Gandhi. Inadvertently, unwittingly, whatever have you, fact is that these are the only two people who are on the frame now.
May I first pay a compliment to my good friend Pawan Verma ji. Pawan Verma ji, if covering up the nakedness of somebody's hypocrisy with a fig leaf of your objectivity as an art, you are the prime artist, sir. Sir, because, and please don't feel insulted by that, it's a compliment I'm paying to you, because please tell me, sir, where did we refuse to accommodate them on discussion in NEET? The speaker, in fact, told the leader of opposition that please provide a notice and we will discuss it in the BSc and immediately give you the accommodation. But NEET could have been discussed in your entire motion of thanks speeches. You could have made it all 100 minutes about NEET, all few hours that you had as opposition about NEET. How much did you actually speak about NEET? Less than 5%, as I've given you with one example. 100 minutes may say 4 minutes. But having said that, sir, because you were in Parliament and at that time I used to serve as OSD also, sir, do you remember the category of presiding officers who Rajiv Shukla went up to and said, adjourn the House? You're talking about alleged mics being switched off. Rajiv Shukla went and told the chair of the House, adjourn the House, it was adjourned. Andhra bifurcation bill, the telecast of the proceedings was stopped. You are talking about institutions being followed and giving both sides a fair hearing. You remember, sir, right now, please, sir, with all your objectivity at your command, please tell them to show this objectivity in the Tamil Nadu Assembly. I'll keep bringing you back there because Dalit lives do matter. They don't just matter for Rahul Gandhi's poll gimmickry, they matter even in reality.
Okay.
Would you please ask the opposition members to show the accommodation in Tamil Nadu?
Pawan Verma to respond. Yeah, Pawan Verma to respond.
Thank you, Shahzad, for your somewhat backhanded compliment. But I speak what I believe is true. It can be interpreted in any way you like. I was the first to say that I think the Prime Minister should have been provided the opportunity to be heard in a more civilized manner. But for every situation, if the answer is to cite a similar wrong committed in the past or elsewhere in order to justify it, can we ever as a country move beyond the blame game?
Just one line.
Yes, Mr. Rajiv Shukla whispering into the ears of the presiding officer was wrong. But equally, the speaker on his first attempt as presiding officer, having just been elected, reading out a condemnation from the chair of the emergency, I think was not appropriate if you are trying to have a house which has a consensus. It could have been raised by the treasury benches.
Okay.
Why must the speaker do it?
Okay, I'll come to you in 1 second.
Let me just give a point by point rebuttal.
No, you answered the question that he asked. I've got limited time. I've got 3 minutes to wrap up. So, Mohan Kumar Mangalam, the other contention that's been raised against Rahul Gandhi, the BJP obviously has raised this in a big way, is that you have insulted, the leader of the opposition has insulted Hindus by saying Hindus are hinsak, and जो लोग अपने आप को हिंदू बुलाते हैं, वो 24 घंटे हिंसा, 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 नफरत, नफरत, नफरत की बात करते हैं. A, what was the need for Mr. Gandhi to say that? B, you are again playing into the BJP's own game. You're falling into the BJP's own trap.
Zaka, I'm feeling it's really unfortunate that I even have to clarify this, given that Mr. Gandhi clarified what he was saying right after the Prime Minister stood up. And when he was saying this, he was pointing to the BJP, saying that it is you people who call yourself Hindus, even said so-called Hindus later. So clearly he's talking about the BJP pretending to be, as he called them, thekedars of Hinduism, but practicing violence, practicing spreading of hate, practicing divisiveness. And that's exactly what Hinduism does not stand for. So he made that crystal clear in his speech itself. Of course, now the BJP has selective hearing and wants to provide, continue with a certain agenda, and they're trying to push it out in social media, but it's not catching or trending as much as it did. Now, I'll just say one thing. I can respond to everything that my Shehzad said, including Tamil Nadu Assembly, because I'm actually from the state of Tamil Nadu. But instead, I will say that this Prime Minister, in his entire speech, it sounded like every single speech he's given before, in that he's continuing to drive the car while looking in the rearview mirror. And he's almost had one accident. He's been brought below majority, and he still doesn't seem to want to learn from it. He's still going back into history. Of course, there's a whole bunch of truths and half-truths and lies in his speech. But that aside, I really would have preferred to have the Prime Minister focus on the issues of the day and not just tell the students who have, gone through all this hardship and had their NEET cancelled and there be a paper leak, just that, don't worry, we're going to take care of it on a war footing. That isn't sufficient. By the way, Mr. Gandhi has written a letter today to the Prime Minister saying that we can have now a discussion on NEET if you want tomorrow, and you should read it.
Okay. Shehzad, the Prime Minister is continuing to talk in Parliament, looking at the rearview mirror. He's not come to terms with the fact that the rules of the game, the rules of parliamentary business have changed because the composition of the Parliament itself has changed.
Well, some people whose car has not come out of the ditch for the last 3 elections are now believing that at 99 they have formed the government and they have become the Prime Minister. So perhaps they should first focus on removing their car from the ditch. I did not give a past example. A principle applies equally in full measure in state and centre. None of them, including Mr. Pawan Verma, have said what is the reason why you don't walk the talk when it comes to the LOP of Tamil Nadu. And it is shameful. Sir, I did not interrupt you. Mohanji, this is what happens in Parliament. I heard everything they said, but they will interrupt me. Now, please listen to the points I'm making. Please, sir, I did not interrupt you. Secondly, forget Rahul Gandhi's statement today. You are saying it's been misinterpreted. Who said mandir jane wale ladki ko chhedte? Who said Hindu terror? Who said saffron terror? Who said Hindu is a dirty word? Mr. Jarkioli. Who said that Krishnaji teaches Arjun jihad? Mr. Satish, Mr. Shivraj Patil. And who has said Godse learnt violence, murder and intolerance from Bhagavad Gita? I challenge Mohan, you say it about Quran. I challenge you say it about the Bible. You can't. So your first speech as LOP, you start abusing Hindus. And your first appointment after LOP was Sam Pitroda, who said Ram and Ram Navami are against the idea of India. This is your anti-Hindu hatred.
Again, by invoking Ayodhya and saying that, BJP was defeated in Ayodhya, Mr. Avdesh Prasad has won from there, which your leader also referred to in his speech today. You're again batting on the BJP's pitch. Final word, I have to wrap up after that, yeah.
Zaka, BJP's pitch is permanently fractured. Because for 10 years on your shows, on various platforms, BJP, spokespersons of BJP, media supporters of BJP, RSS, distributed freely the certificate of Hinduism. They told people like me, you are anti-Ram, you're not Ram Bhakt, you're not Hindu, you're not nationalist. The God Ram himself has taken away that fake authority of certificate. Their certificate has the same caliber that Prime Minister's own degree has. No one believes in it. So they don't have the certificate to offer today that who is Hindu, who is not. It is clear that BJP got that certificate by abusing other people, by bringing hatred, by bringing falsehoods. If one thing that will go out from this parliament is the opposition spoke about the needs of the people, including Akhilesh Yadavji speaking about need. Prime Minister spoke 3 sentences on needs, 3 sentences in a 2-hour, 35-minute lecture where time was snatched away from opposition members, from a member of Manipur. He did not properly address even Manipur, for that matter, and everybody was shouting Manipur.
Okay.
This
One line
parliament, 18th Lok Sabha, Prime Minister cannot escape the truth.
Even if they keep denying that we have a numerical victory, the ideological victory is such that those who were having garv on killing the Ram Bhakts today are quoting about Ramji ki Janbhumi. We have not lost Ramji's Janbhumi. By the way, we won Ayodhya Vidhan Sabha.
Okay.
You won Faizabad, but you compared Raja Ayodhya to your MP.
Okay,
that shows that you don't
Rajat, one line, 10 seconds after wrap up after that, please.
I honestly believe that, for the past 10 years, you've seen somewhat of productivity, somewhat of semblance of working together. I believe over the next 5 years, this doesn't become the template for every session getting washed out in the well of the houses.
I'm afraid that that hope might be belied very soon, but we'll leave it at that. We hope that that is not the case, that this does not become a template for when the Prime Minister speaks or when the LOP speaks, that we hope that Parliament will see healthy discussions and debates as it should. That's a wrap. Thank you very much to all our guests. We will continue to focus also on what's happening in Hathras. 116 people are now confirmed dead. We'll take a quick break, but news and updates continue right here on the other side.
আমি যদি নকৰে কৰিলে কালিয়ে কৰি দিছে আৰু আপুনিও একবাৰ ফোন মাৰি ল'ব মই যদি আপোনাক কৈ দিম যে ফোন মাৰিব
মানুহক দেখিছোঁ
कुछ लोगों की पीड़ा समझ सकता हूं कि लगातार झूठ चलाने के बावजूद भी उनका घोर पराजय हुआ। एक विश्व का सबसे बड़ा चुनाव अभियान और उसमें भारत की जनता ने हमें तीसरी बार देश की सेवा करने का मौका दिया है।
Presented by R.
প্ৰতিবাৰে ডুবে আগতো
এইটো
দুটা নামে এক লগত যাব লাগে আমি আকৌ যেনেকৈ আহিলোঁ তেনেকৈ আহিম দেই মই হেৰি মাৰিব লাগিব ন লাইকৰ পৰা আহিছে মানে তো লেডিজখিনি যেনেকৈ বহি আছে 10জন বহি থাকিলেও নাও একো হিলডুল নহ'ব
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. We begin with the showdown in the Indian Parliament. Yesterday, opposition leader Rahul Gandhi took on the government and the Prime Minister. Today, the Prime Minister responded amid a lot of heckling. He spoke for more than 2 hours and made sharp attacks. It sets the tone for what parliamentary proceedings could look like in the next 5 years. We'll bring you the highlights tonight. In the US, after Biden's debate debacle, a gift for Donald Trump from the US Supreme Court. He won't face trials before the presidential election. We'll explain why. In Europe, Putin's friend and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is visiting Kiev. We will tell you why. In France, as the far right surges ahead in the election, others joined ranks to defeat it. We will look at how Marine Le Pen has turned things around for her party. In the UK, 2 days to go for the polls. We focus on the campaigns and the obsession with photo ops. In Turkey, anti-Syria